Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Josh all alone with you guys on an early Wednesday morning here for me when I'm recording. Been up since the butt crack of dawn with the kiddo, and if you hear a little Steve and Maggie in the background, well, that's what I got rolling here in the house today. But I just wanted to sit down here and do a quick midweek update as we transition from week 7 to week 8. We've got some things going on for the Browns, some news and notes, and just kind of hit on a couple things, couple pointers, and then we'll get going. But again, happy Wednesday. It's hump day. You guys made it halfway through the week. You're almost, well, you're almost halfway there. From when I used to work Monday through Friday, I remember Wednesday was like that. You hit Wednesday, you get through it, and then it's just smooth sailing downhill from there because Thursday's like, whatever, tomorrow's Friday. And then Friday is just Friday. So we are cruising right along with the week. But before I dive into any of the content here today, just wanted you guys, please, if you're watching on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, tap that notification bell so you don't miss anything new. We're going to be doing a Dog Pack Discord show tomorrow night to preview the Ravens game. Again, if you're interested in doing those types of things, and you want to be part of the Dog Pack community with everybody, and it's just such a cool community, great diehard Browns fans, just good people. Join the Dawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member, join the Patreon, sync up with the private Discord, get involved, and be part of the community. It is awesome. And then also, I do believe Blake and Kenny are going to do another one of their trending topics on social media episodes this week. Not sure when. They have not been able to schedule that yet, but just be on the look for that as well. So we got more content coming out now than we really ever have before. So that's my push. Again, tap that notification bell. And I guess while I'm at it, on audio, 5-star reviews are huge for us, especially on Apple. If you can give us a 5-star written review, we would very much appreciate that. So let's just dive in here. So kind of going back to Sunday against the Bengals, it was late Sunday morning when we got the notifications, we got the reports that DTR was going to be the backup quarterback, the QB2 for the game, and Jameis Winston would be inactive. He would be the emergency quarterback. And that whole situation, when it popped up, was kind of confusing, to say the least, because, Jameis had been QB2 since the jump. Since he was signed, there was never a doubt. It was always, who's QB3? Is it Huntley? Is it DTR? Jameis was never a question. Like, Jameis is, he's a longtime veteran in the NFL. I mean, his career has not gone, the way everyone had hoped whenever he was the number 1 overall pick back when he was selected. But still a competent quarterback in the NFL. He's proven very capable, especially as a backup, coming in spot start situations throughout his career here as of late. But, for the Browns to make that last minute adjustment to the roster, or to the lineup for the game, was a little head scratching, especially considering they've been using Jameis Winston on short yardage packages and QB sneaks, specifically on like 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, or whatever, those types of situations. So clearly my first reaction right away was, this sounds like there must be some sort of plan, maybe verbal agreement in place for a Jameis Winston trade coming this week. And as I was kind of making a post for social media and thinking about it, I was like, well, it could be a trade, but this could also be, I hate to say it, but it could also be the Browns trying to hedge against having the home stadium chanting Winston and calling for Winston to come in if Deshaun Watson doesn't play well. Okay, so I mean, there are definitely a couple different things that could be going on here. After the game, it has been reported now, Kevin Stefanski was asked about this last-minute decision, and he said, during the game plan for the week, they weren't installing any of those short yardage packages for Jameis Winston to be the QB2, and he thought that DTR has shown enough in practice to be promoted to the QB2, which I love Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a good coach. I'm going to call him major BS on that one. Dude, no. First of all, you've had this short yardage package or whatever for Jameis Winston the entire season, from the time you started putting this new offense together all the way through. Like, you've never used Deshaun Watson in a QB sneak situation on 4th and 1s. I mean, obviously you don't want him diving in to a pile of 300-pound men because of his shoulder and all that kind of stuff. It made sense all season to be using Jameis. Like, I totally get why they were doing it. It's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's the fact that all of a sudden, last minute, of course, you make this change in your public response to it. Your reasoning is, oh, well, we didn't have those packages in the game plan for this week. You didn't? Okay. DTR showed enough in practice to be promoted to QB2. You sure about that? Because I watched him play, and it was not pretty. So DTR on the day was 11 of 24 for 82 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 picks. He had some moments where, like with some RPO plays and things like that, and getting out of the pocket, making some plays with his legs, he looked a little bit electric. He did. He looked kind of good. But those moments were not enough, just not enough to overcome the overall performance. And in the end, it really was not pretty. I mean, he had a 45.8 completion percentage, and his adjusted was down at 63.2. Not great. And when I'm looking at the stats for these quarterbacks, against the Bengals, yeah, I know Deshaun Watson, again, like, he was not pushing the ball downfield, but I'm starting to wonder, like, how much of what we saw from the offense this season was ineptitude from the players, the line, the receivers, the quarterback, and how much of it is the ineptitude of the actual offensive system itself. Because Deshaun Watson, before he, left the game, lost his season to the Achilles tear, 15 of 17 for an 88.2 completion percentage, 128 yards. Now, he never passed over 200 yards the entire season, and he already had 128, and this still was time to go in the second quarter. So he was actually playing a very good statistical game. Now, effectiveness on the field, the Browns weren't scoring points. We weren't going on these long drives and things. It was a lot of dink and dunk stuff. But I mean, statistically, it was working for him. His adjusted completion percentage was a 94.1. And again, I get it. It was a lot of the dink and dunk, short yardage, stuff like that. So DTR comes in, does his thing. And then I'm sitting there watching the broadcast, and I see Jameis Winston come on the field, and I'm like, I kind of sit up on the couch, and I'm thinking, wait a second here. I thought Jameis was the emergency quarterback. You can't put him in just because it's late in the game, and you can't just put him in. DTR has to get hurt. And then the commentator's like, oh, well, DTR's on the sideline getting his hand attended to. And I'm like, oh, his hand. Okay, yeah, he hurt his hand, so we got to get Jameis in there. And I'm thinking they just want to see what Jameis can do. They've seen what they needed to see out of DTR, so it's like, hey, dude, go over and get your hand looked at. Okay, and that's just the fan in me being speculative during the game, thinking this all seems so fishy. Like from the report this morning to and I'm not saying the Achilles tear didn't happen. I watched it happen. It's just the whole sequence of events. DTR coming in, Jameis coming in. I'm like, what more are we watching here? And now we've learned that DTR actually has an injured tendon in the middle finger of his throwing hand. He's having trouble gripping the ball, and he's not going to play this week. Jameis Winston, they announced Jameis Winston is going to be the starter against the Ravens. The Browns did sign Bailey Zappi, the former New England Patriots quarterback. He was on the Chiefs practice squad. We signed him. And then I just saw a Tony Grossi update this morning that they moved Bailey Zappi to the active roster. And I don't know all the specifics of the practice squad to the active roster, all these rules and stuff like that. But he said that Bailey Zappi has to stay on the active roster for 3 weeks. So that means DTR is going to be out for at least 3 more weeks. So it's Jameis Winston time. It's eating dubs time. Well, maybe not. I mean, we do have the Ravens and the Chargers coming up and then a bye week. But we'll see how it goes. I think that Jameis, we've talked a lot this season. I think Jameis probably the best. I don't even know if I want to say he's the best chance for us to win games. He's probably the most likely quarterback to push the ball downfield, to take chances, to just kind of let it loose, let it rip and see what happens. I feel like Deshaun Watson was playing very, very cautious football, very don't throw interceptions, don't turn the ball over, play it safe. And that obviously didn't work out. I mean, that's cool He didn't throw a lot of interceptions this year, and he kept the turnovers low and all that kind of stuff. We didn't win any games from it. I mean, it's not like it helped us in the win column. I think Jameis gives us the best chance to go downfield for some big plays, hopefully score some points. But, you know, last week after the Eagles game, Kevin Stefanski came out and said Deshaun Watson's going to be the quarterback. He gives us the best chance to win football games. And then, you know, we kind of all crapped a little bit on that comment. Like, dude, Kevin, come on, man. I mean, we're all watching too. And then this past week against the Bengals, we got the opportunity to see DTR and Jameis a little bit at the end. And it's like, well, you know what? Maybe Kevin wasn't lying. Maybe that was true. I don't really know. We're gonna get a full-scale evaluation of Jameis Winston and the Browns offense this week against a very good opponent. Now, like I said, we'll do the Bengals or the Ravens preview later this week. But just as a heads up, like, they can be passed on. They are a pass funnel defense. They're good defense. They shut down the run. So this is not a game I'm looking for Nick Chubb to come out and do any better than he did against the Bengals. His 11 for 22, 2 yards a carry. Ugh. Our run game sucks. Our entire offense just sucks. It's putrid. It's terrible. Whoever designed it, Ken Dorsey, you should go. Like, this, not good. Just back to the Ravens real quick. The way you beat them, the way you put up yards and move the ball, it's through the air. Teams have been able to do that all year long. So if Jameis Winston's going to showcase what he can do in the offense in a pass-heavy, spread it out, throw the ball a whole lot type of offense, this is the game to do it. This episode is sponsored by Leaf Filter. Browns fans, whether the team is winning or not, you are the most die-hard, loyal fans in the league year in and year out. And just like you, Leaf Filter has been supporting clean gutters in Northeast Ohio year after year. And because Leaf Filter is the official gutter guard of the Cleveland Browns, they have a limited time offer for all of you barking dogs. Right now, you can get up to 32% of your entire qualified purchase and 2 free official Browns jerseys at leaffilter.com/dogs. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever cleaned your gutters, but it's a tedious, messy, time-consuming chore. So cut down on your weekend home maintenance, cross off another item on that to-do list so you can spend more time watching football on your days off. Leaf Filter uses award-winning patented technology to keep everything out of your gutters except for the water. Schedule your free gutter inspection today for a free no-obligation estimate on protecting your home from flooding, roof damage, rotting siding, foundation issues, and all those things you really don't need to be dealing with as a homeowner. A Leaf Filter trusted pro will clean out your gutters, realign and seal them before installing Leaf Filter. Schedule your free inspection now, and for a limited time, get up to 32% off your entire qualified purchase and 2 free Browns jerseys at Leaf Filter, leaffilter.com/dogs, DAWGS. That's a free inspection, up to 32% off, and 2 free Browns jerseys with a qualified purchase at leaffilter.com/dogs. Offer valid on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. Full terms and conditions can be found at leaffilter.com/dogs. See representatives for warranty details. So just to kind of backtrack, I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, but it's kind of all in the same conversation. Looking at how DTR played against the Bengals, I'm glad he's not. I'm glad he's not going to play against the Ravens. I think it would be another terrible game like his first game last year when Dorian Thompson-Robinson was kept clean against the Bengals. He completed 10 of 16 passes for 66 yards. He did throw both his interceptions in a clean pocket situation. When DTR was under pressure, he completed 1 of 8 passes for 16 yards. That's it. He was not good under pressure. And if you watch the game, I mean, you clearly saw that. When Jameis Winston was kept clean in a clean pocket situation, not great. 4 of 10 he did throw his touchdown in that situation. When he was under pressure, he just 1 attempt, 1 completion for 25 yards. So not a huge sample size for Jameis Winston. That's why it's just kind of hard to gauge him in this offense and everything. Last week, he came in, we're down, we're trying to win. 2-point conversion, we missed kick, we missed an extra point earlier. Like, we need to see Jameis from the start of a game through the end and kind of see how he can put it together for this Browns offense. Another thing we need to address is just the offense, other players, pieces in this offense, the wide receivers. Come on, guys. I don't understand what's going on. I know there's been a lot of talk. A lot of you fans out there are in the same mindset as we are of the Browns wiped out their entire offensive staff, tight ends coach, offensive line coach, running back coach, everything. But they kept Chad O'Shea, the wide receiver coach. And I believe, was her name Callie? I forget her. Callie, I think. I forget her name. I just honestly forget her name. I think it's the assistant wide receiver coach. Kept them. This unit is terrible. There's no development in this unit over the last 4 or 5 years. Every rookie wide receiver we've drafted has done nothing, essentially. Like, they just turn into nothing. DPJ was kind of the, exception to the rule, but now he's not doing anything. I don't even know if he's on a team right now. So going to the Bengals game, the Browns again, Nick Chubb had a drop pass, so I'm not going to include him in the wide receiver talk here. 3 more drop passes from wide receivers, or I guess pass catchers in general. One from David Njoku, and like David, we posted this in the Discord chat. We've got a Discord chat that goes every week, every Sunday during the game. We're in there with the community talking throughout the game. It's a good in-game therapy session situation, but David Njoku is like, he's good for a drop a week. Like, this drops have always been a problem with David, and I just think it's always going to be a problem. Like, he's just not a sure-handed pass catcher. He just isn't, and I don't think he's ever going to get that fixed at this point in his career. So we just kind of have to learn to go with it. But Jerry Jeudy, 2 more drops. Talked about the big one on the show on Monday, and it is a problem. Amari Cooper was here. Led the entire league, not just the team, but the entire league in drop passes. It is a big problem. Elijah Moore drops passes all the time. As a side note, I don't understand why we're still playing Elijah Moore. Get him off the trade him. Trade him. He's not going to be here next year. You're not re-signing him. He doesn't do jack squat for us on the field now anyway. Just trade him. Get a 6th or a 7th, whatever you can recoup for him. Trading a 2nd-round pick to get him and Tillman was, whatever, questionable at best. But just get him out of here. We got Jamari Thrash right now who needs to get on the field. I got to see what Jamari Thrash can do, man, because we're going to need to kind of rebuild this wide receiver core next year. And I just, as a fan, like, I want to know, can Jamari Thrash be a part of that core? Because he's on a rookie contract. He's going to be here for the foreseeable future. Let's see what he can do. And the best way for these guys to learn is to get on the field and get in-game reps. Guys, we ain't going to the playoffs this year, so might as well try to do everything we can to get ready for next year. So Elijah Moore, I'd like to see him out of the lineup, off the field, off the team, honestly. Nothing personal to him. He is an expiring asset that we either just let fall into free agency and get signed for some little dinky contract maybe next year, or we try to trade him to somebody who's looking to add a little depth for a run. So pass catchers, I don't even want to talk too much offensive line. We watched, they suck. Jed Wills can't play tackle anymore. I honestly don't know if he even makes an active roster next season. This is a contract year for him, and he destroyed it. He pretty much just let his career go by the wayside with his performance this season. And I know he was hurt for the first few games, and in the 4 games that he has played now, he is just not good. So just an update here on penalties. Penalties. Browns continue their league-leading effort in the overall penalties department. They have gotten 60 penalties called against them that have counted, 66 total penalties overall because 6 have been declined. How many yards? How many yards is that? It is 417 yards surrendered on penalties. That's actually just 5th most, though. We have the most penalties against us, 5th most yardage lost because of it. Oh, and then this is the fun category I like to look at. Ooh, them pre-snap penalties. This goes to the discipline, the lack of preparedness and discipline for this team. Pre-snap penalties, 32 of them. What's the next highest? The next highest pre-snap penalty team, the Miami Dolphins, who run a ton of motion. Like Blake said on Monday night, no wonder the Browns don't try to run more motion because we can't freaking do it right. But what's the Miami Dolphins count? Remember, the Browns have 32 pre-snap penalties this year. The Dolphins, 24. We almost have 10 more. We got 8 more penalties than the next highest team, pre-snap penalties. They are infuriating. They drive us crazy as fans. I mean, Nick Chubb's first touchdown, he had to score twice to get a freaking touchdown the other day because of a pre-snap penalty that called back the play. And I don't know if Jameis Winston is going to be able to facilitate better results with this. I don't know if there's any quarterback really that can come in and lead us to any sort of big time production or, give us a good chance to win when we have all these pre-snap penalties, when Jed Wills takes us, 2 steps sideways and just puts his hands up and lets whoever's across from him just free rush the passer. All right, nobody can do anything in the run blocking game. We run out of shotgun, get hit at the line of scrimmage. We average like 2 yards a carry. It's horrible. The whole offense is so bad. Special teams, Bubba, dude, what are your units doing, man? A kickoff return to open the game, great, thanks. We're in a 7-point hole. Missed field goal, missed extra points, 11-point swing. The Browns defense holds the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow to 14 total points in the game. They played excellent. I mean, Joe Burrow's a guy that he's been on fire in recent weeks. I mean, I don't have his stats pulled up, but I just know like he has been high yardage, touchdowns. He's been carving up defenses in the passing game, and we held him to 181 yards. I mean, he had 181 for the entire game. Deshaun had 128 at halftime. So the whole the team, I feel like when the defense blows a coverage or can't stop the run game in certain situations, then the offense is doing things, but they can't counter it. The special team, like Corey can punt the crap out of the ball, but then we're going to give it up on a kickoff return to the other team. It's always something. We can never play a cohesive football game, all 3 phases. There's always at least 1 or 2 phases that are just dropping the ball and blowing it for us. And sometimes it's all 3, but it's never a coordinated effort by all 3 phases to win a football game. So it's been frustrating to say the least, but as Browns fans, this is what we do. We've had a good run here of late, some good competitive teams under Kevin Stefanski, and it's been a lot of fun to root for these teams. It's been winning, and that's another note real quick. When I say the word fun, that is one thing that I do not associate with this Cleveland Browns football team in 2024. They don't have fun. Last year, we saw this entire team was having fun. There was excitement. They were together. They were bonded as a team, and you could just tell they were fighting for each other, and they were having fun doing it. This year, there's no fun. There's no passion. They just look lackluster and like, nah, they don't really care. And that's a problem. And that's why, when we talk on the show, like on Monday night, we don't want to see Kevin Stefanski go. I think he's a great head coach, and I think he'll be a head coach if he gets fired. I think somebody will, like Blake said very well, Kevin's got the respect around the league. Other teams and organizations will look at what the Browns are doing and say, I'm pretty sure Kevin was put in a bad situation by the ownership, by the front office, all this kind of stuff. But the lack of discipline, the lack of preparedness, the penalties, there's no unity on this team. They're not gelled together. There's no passion. There's no fight. There's no fun. And that's why we're not advocating to fire Kevin Stefanski, but it's just be prepared. The situation could warrant an entire house cleaning of staff. So we'll ride it out here in this season and just kind of see what happens. Hey, Browns fans, even though the Browns kind of suck again, there's still plenty of actual good, real football that you guys can watch this season, and that's where Underdog Fantasy has got you covered. Win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats, for example, touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Honestly, you can still have fun with the Browns. I mean, Deshaun or whoever's playing quarterback, their touchdown line will probably be like 0.5, 1.5, something like that. So, hey, pick the lower and it'll get you there more times than not. But anyway, the Underdog app, it's easy to use. I've been playing fantasy sports on Underdog for years. I play a ton of best ball on there, and this higher, lower stuff, the picks just adds way more fun to each and every Sunday. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick-em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code DAWGS, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 and older, 19 and older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 and older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. One last quick kind of news and note type of thing. And I'm not going to dive into the specifics of the situation. We're going to kind of piece some stories together and come back to you guys with a more full episode on the whole Browns moving to Brook Park situation. The city came out and said that they plan to take legal action against the Browns to try to prevent them from moving out of downtown. The Art Modell law, all that kind of stuff. The Browns as a team right now on the field, the product is awful. They suck. It's so bad. We've got the hope and the promise of this brand new domed stadium up there in Cleveland. I mean, you guys, if you watch the show, we're all for the dome. We're all for the massive parking at the stadium. Get us in, get us out, make it easy. Eliminate the traffic problem trying to go through downtown to get to the lake. It's a nightmare. Nobody wants to go sit through, cold, wet, rainy, snowy games in November and December when the team is we're probably gonna be 1-12. Nobody wants to do that. Not really. I just, if you do, drop it in the comments. Let us know. Be like, no, man, when the Browns are 1-13 and it's, 15 degrees outside, I am there. And that is Cleveland Browns football, baby. For the rest of us, for most of us, I'd like to think probably not so much. When I'm sitting there at home on the couch, watching the game and it's snowing and I see the fans all bundled up under 10 blankets and things like that in the stands, my thought is, thank God that ain't me. But again, if you're different, drop in the comments. Let us know. We love talking about the different viewpoints on this whole thing. But we'll dive into these specifics. It doesn't sound like the city of Cleveland has a whole lot of teeth to chew with on this situation. Doesn't sound like there's a whole lot here. They're just doing everything they can to try to say, hey, we tried to stop them from moving out, but they did it anyway, blah, 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 whatever. There's a lot of politicking going on with this whole thing. Either way, no matter what the city tries to do, there will be a brand new domed stadium in Brook Park. I mean, it's happening. So I think as fans, whether you want it to happen or you don't, it's happening. If you don't want it to happen, just start looking at the pros of the situation. It's going to be a whole new development, destination area right outside of Cleveland. And it blows my mind that people think or seem to insinuate that by the Browns moving to Brook Park, it's going to take all this commerce and all this stuff out of Cleveland. What do you think people are going to do when they come into Brook Park, not just for a Browns game, but when they come to this new stadium for a concert in March? They come in for a convention or some sort of conference going on, some sort, concert, whatever, a big event that's happening in May or whatever, because the Browns aren't playing in May, but this facility is going to be getting used. And you go up there for an event that's, at 8:00 at night, maybe it's a concert or something. Well, maybe that's on a Saturday night. You come in on Friday because it's like, hey, I'm going to go downtown Cleveland. And then you go back in the morning, and then, you spend your whole day doing things around the area before you go to the concert. It's going to drive so much more traffic to the area. And it's kind of mind-boggling to me that people assume that nobody who visits Brook Park for this facility is also going to go 10 minutes, northeast into Cleveland. Really? Maybe I'm crazy. If I'm crazy, let me know. But I just don't see it. I see it as driving more traffic to the entire area, not just the Brook Park suburb, but Cleveland City itself, and not just for 8 games a year, 8 Sundays in the fall, but around the calendar. So we'll talk more about the Brook Park situation and the lawsuit and whatever, all this kind of stuff on a future episode. But again, I just want to jump in here and do some quick news and notes and kind of round up, because we did have, the news of DTR with the injury. We got Bailey Zappi now on the active roster behind Jameis Winston, who is going to start Sunday against the Ravens. So for everybody, including us, who wanted to see Jameis Winston in the offense, see what he could do and how he could move the ball down the field, if he can move the ball down the field in this offense, we're going to get answers for those questions on Sunday and again on the following Sunday, because unless he gets hurt, Jameis Winston will be starting against the Chargers. So hang in there, Browns fans. It's been a very just disappointing season. I don't really know a better way to say it. We came in with expectations that were up here, and they were right. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, you clowns thought you were going to make the playoffs this year. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, damn right we thought we were going to make the playoffs this year. We made the playoffs last year in a much worse situation. We made all kinds of personnel moves, roster moves to improve this team. The team's expectation was playoffs this year. You as a fan are not wrong if you expected the Browns to be good this year and to make the playoffs this year. Those were the expectations. That was the bar. They have failed miserably. But don't let any of the haters on social media or any of the casual douchebag fans in your life tell you, oh, I can't believe you thought the Browns were going to be good. Oh, you idiot. Of course we thought they were going to be good. They were supposed to be good. This ain't your fault. It's theirs. So I just wanted to make sure I said that, because there's a lot of moronic activity out there and a lot of people that could just use some additional brain cells if they were available to them. Sadly, they are not. So we are left to deal with idiots on a constant basis. But hang in there. We'll be with you guys the rest of the season. We're not going to stop. We got to keep looking at what's going on the field with our players each and every week, whether we win or lose, probably lose, but we're still this season isn't it, guys. It's not like we lose this season and there's no more Browns football. We're back again next year playing football, and we got to see what players we got on this team right now in 2024 who can help us and be pivotal pieces of this team in 2025, because if the expectations aren't to be good next year, then what are we doing? We have got to continue to improve. So, like I said, we'll be here. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new stuff. We got more content coming out this week and all that kind of stuff. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. And until we talk to you guys on the preview episode. Hey, P.S. One last thing I wanted to mention. I totally forgot. I just wanted to mention this, but last night LeBron James and Bronny James played their first NBA game together for the Lakers, and it was the first time in NBA history that a father-son duo played in the same game. And it was, as a hardcore sports fan, what a cool moment, because after the game and during the game courtside, there was Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr., who were the first father-son duo to play in the Major League Baseball game together. And they got, pictures afterwards together, the four of them, and it was such a cool moment, because I don't know what generation you're from watching this video, but for me, from my generation, I'm 35, and when I was a kid, Ken Griffey Jr. was it for me. Like, that was my athlete. My room was just posters of Ken Griffey Jr. I was a Ken Griffey Jr. guy. Like, sure, there was Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, these other guys, but it was Ken Griffey Jr. for me. I loved him. That's who I wanted to be growing up. Backwards cap all the time to school. I mean, like the kid, it was just, I love the guy. And then to see how his career went and everything, Hall of Fame, all that stuff. And then whenever I was a little bit older, what posters went all over my room next? It was LeBron James. LeBron James was my childhood. It was Ken Griffey Jr. when I was real little, and then I can't remember if there was overlap there in the careers. I'd have to look that up. Memory's not serving me too well. But then it was LeBron James, and I couldn't miss a Cavs game. I couldn't miss a LeBron James moment. And to see those two guys, LeBron or Griffey Jr. with his dad and LeBron with his son, just. These, whether you like LeBron or you like Griffey or you like these people or you don't like them, It's the fact that there are these historical moments in sports history. And when you get to witness them, when you get to be a part of these moments as a fan and log them into your memory, it's just really cool. It's a really cool moment. These are things that do not happen clearly every day, because these were the first sets of father-sons to do these things. It's cool. It's really cool. And I just wanted to talk about that for a second. And maybe Blake and Kenny will go into more detail on that. I have no idea what they're planning to do on their show this week, but just thought that was neat, especially since it was the two guys that growing up, those were the two athletes for me that I just loved. I loved Ken Griffey Jr. and I love LeBron James. And I love this little guy too. All right, so I got to go, guys. See you later. Have a good week, guys.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Hey, Dog Pack, we do a lot of fun promos on the show, but let me ask you a serious question this time. Do you think the world's going in the right direction, or, does it kind of feel like a lot of things are falling apart? Hurricanes, tornadoes, natural disasters, we just had a pandemic, foreign wars, threats of escalated conflicts. It could be a lot, guys. I get it. And if you're feeling alarmed, you're not alone. Your views, one way or another, they don't change the fact that we all need to be prepared for our families, and that starts with having an emergency food supply. We're living in crazy times, and that's why so many people are making sure their homes are prepared and stored with food. And right now, you can get yourself and your family ready with a 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. It comes with delicious foods like creamy stroganoff, honey wheat bread, cheesy broccoli soup, spaghetti, chili mac, even pancake mix. The entire kit offers 2,000 calories every day, and the food lasts up to 25 years. Who knows what things will look like then? But if that dreaded day does come, you will be ready. Go to thedawgspodcast.com/patriot right now to order your 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. Protect your food situation for things like extended power outages, cyber attacks, natural disasters, quarantines, even things like job loss and income reduction, whatever the situation might be. Make sure that your most basic needs are covered so that you can focus on whatever else you need to do. That's thedawgspodcast.com/patriot to order your 3-month emergency food kit now from My Patriot Supply.